Hi, so now we're on page 17 and we have three new notes, and these notes are B, C, and D. So the B is the open B string, the C is first finger, first fret, and the D is third finger, third fret. Okay, I want to fill in also the notes in between, even though we're not playing those yet. You know, it's good to learn these because later we will be. So in between C and D, remember you could think of this as either C sharp or D flat. And one fret above the D is D sharp or E flat. Okay, we'll get into that stuff later. So let's turn to page 18. Okay, so on the top of 18, finally we have the quarter note that I've been mentioning all along. Right, remember when I described a whole note, I said it had 4 beats, and those beats were quarter notes. I said a half note had 2 beats, and they were quarter notes. Dotted half note, 3 beats. So these are the beats that we've been counting, okay? So the quarter note receives 1 beat. So if you look on the top of the page, they look just like half notes, but the note head itself is colored in, okay? Instead of being open like the half note is. So let's take a look at technique exercise 2. So now that we have 2 strings that we have notes on, we have 6 notes total, and we have 2 strings. For the right hand, we're gonna have to get used to switching back and forth between the E and B. So if you look at this exercise, it's 4 E's, 4 B's, 4 E's, and 4 B's. So that tells you right away, you don't need the left hand. It's just for the right hand. This is a study just for the right hand. If you're playing with a pick, I want you to do alternate picking, down and up. So you would just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see the motion. If you're someone that's playing with your fingers, you would want to alternate fingers, okay? Just like you're walking back and forth with the I and M. It doesn't matter whether you start on the M or the I, but you're gonna just make sure you alternate. M, I. Etc. Okay? So this is a great exercise for just getting used to where those strings lay and getting your hand accustomed to the spacing. So let's play it. I'll play it with the metronome first, just the melody by itself, and then I'll play it again with the chords so you can hear how it sounds a little bit more musically. So this is at 80 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. It sounds a little dry by itself, so let me play it with the chords now to give it a little bit more color. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's take an overview to the piece Carousel. First thing to notice is in 3/4 time. Then you notice we've got 3 systems on page 18, and we've got 4 systems on page 19. Each system has 8 measures for a total of 56 measures. We have a fermata at the end where you would hold it out. It's using just the notes B, C, and D. It uses primarily quarter notes, but it has some dotted half notes there at the end of the systems, and then the entire last system on page 19 is all dotted half notes. Again, the chord symbols above the melody are for me to play behind you to make it sound kind of cooler, okay, to make the piece come to life. Now, I don't want to go through and say the note names for the entire piece, but let me say the first system just to get you up and running with the B, C, D. And then remember, don't write the note names in, go through and say these note names out loud or in your mind, right? This is something you can do if you're too tired to practice. Just pull the book out while you're having breakfast or whatever, and just go through and say some of the note names until you really don't have to think about it anymore where they are. So let me just say the first system for you. It goes B, 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 D, B, C, 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 D, C, D, 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 C, D, B, D. Okay, so that should hopefully orient you for where the note names are. As you're practicing this piece, I want to mention something. Always think of the 3/4. Even if you're practicing without a metronome, don't look at this and see that there's 4 B's in a row at the beginning and go, then there's 4 C's, then there's 4 D's. That's not musical. So even if you have to slow it down, go 1, 1, 2, 3. Always try to feel the measure or the meter of a piece, right? Feel the measures go by, feel the time signature, and be aware of that, okay? That's one thing I wanted to point out because I've seen a lot of students doing that when they're learning this piece, to just go. So don't do that, okay? So let me play the melody for you. I'll play the melody by itself, and then I'll play the chords. This piece I kind of perform as kind of a classical waltz, but sometimes I put some more kind of Latin sounds in there as well, okay? But that will be more in the accompaniment. So here's the melody. The CD track I think is about 140. To be honest, I like to play it a bit faster. I won't play it as fast as I truly like to play it, but I think I'll play it up about 160, okay? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and I'll play the chords for you. Know that in 3/4 time, usually I count off 2 measures instead of just 1 like I do in 4/4. That way you can really feel the tempo and lock in before we start, okay? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So now we're on the bottom of page 19, Technique Exercise 3. So this is our first piece now that we're going to use notes from both the B string and the high E string, so it's cumulative. If you take a look at it, it goes C, D, E, F, G, F, E, D, and then the same thing again, okay? So this is a common scale pattern that you'll hear singers or other instrumentalists warming up with. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of a major scale. Some of you may have heard that kind of a thing, okay? So you want to be conscious of all the technique things that I've mentioned before. Stretching your fingers out, hitting in the fingertips, maybe leaving the F down as you go F, G, F. More advanced people, if you want to mess with this a little bit to try and make it more challenging, you can throw the pinky in. You can throw the B in. So let me play the melody for you. 2, 3, 4. And now with the chords. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's technique exercise 3.